Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, after replacing the battery, it cranks, but the gas tank is completely dry. So it's off to the gas station to get some gas. Stock Ford 8Ns don't have this little shroud. When the Glover company built these, they put a 6-cylinder flathead Ford truck engine in it. It's a long stroke, low compression engine with tremendous amount of torque. Glover mounted it into these tractors over in Illinois because they did a lot of water pumping. And the 8N was a little underpowered. So the idea was they wanted to put a lot of power through the PTO. And in order to get the engine in there, which is taller than the 8N's little 4-banger, they had to raise up the hood. They also had to put in a larger radiator. They couldn't go a whole lot wider and still keep the same hood lines and clearance for the wheels and everything. So they made it taller. So now the tractor sits up about 6 inches higher at the hood line. They also put on larger rear wheels and larger front tires. Same size wheel rims, but larger diameter wheels, larger diameter rubber, both front and rear. One problem was they didn't increase the size of the brakes. It's still got the same old, tiny, wimpy little 8N brakes. They wanted to be able to do PTO work with this. They put in a Hupp over-under transmission. It's got an overdrive and an underdrive. So you can run the engine faster, which increases the PTO speed without increasing the ground speed. That way you can run a bush hog or a sickle bar mower, which has to run at a faster RPM in order to operate. These are all things that I learned the hard way. When I bought this, I'd never had a tractor with a Hupp or any kind of over and under transmission. The other thing it does for you with the overdrive, when you put it in 4th gear, you can hit 50 miles an hour in this tractor. Remember what I said about the brakes? Yeah, you don't want to do 50 miles an hour on this little tractor. It weighs about 500 pounds more than a standard 8N. And with the hydraulic 3-point, it can pull a 3-bottom plow. I don't own a 3-bottom plow. I only have a 2-bottom plow for it, the standard Dearborn 2-bottom plow that came with the 8N. But it pulls in that 2-bottom plow, no problem at all. Does a great job with a bush hog too. When I bought it, it came with a grater blade, a hydro hoe, the 2-bottom plow, and a 6-foot bush hog. When we moved, I didn't have the space to put in a 6-foot bush hog anywhere. Actually, I don't have the space to put anything away. Nearly everything is sitting outside except what I could fit inside the shed. So I don't bush hog anymore. But I used to love doing that. That was fun. Okay, now it's had time for the carburetor to fill up. Let's pull the choke. See if we can get her to pop. one minor problem. Evidently, I have disconnected the ignition switch. Not being able to shut off the engine is kind of a dumb thing to do. Also means that I have the ignition on all the time and I will fry the points. So how is this working without that connected to that? So what was wrong with the tractor? Why did it keep running? Well, remember I told you that I bought a one-wire alternator and I replaced a three-wire alternator with a one-wire alternator, but I left the wiring harness alone. That way when I hooked up the one-wire alternator to this circuit, I was taking the power from the battery that is supposed to energize the alternator so that it charges, and the alternator was pumping power up that, so that as long as I had the alternator turning, even if I disconnected the negative wire on the battery, the tractor kept running. So what I had to do is take that wire that energizes the three-wire alternator off and disconnect it from the circuit. Everything worked fine. Well, we're about a quart low, but not serious. Okay, well, I think we're ready to start it up and move it. Well, success. It was a hard fight, but we got it. Seems that this new alternator is wired slightly different than the old alternator. And I haven't looked at the circuit diagram to actually check it out. All I did is just unplug a few wires to see why the engine kept running. So, now I have a tractor that works again. It's been lots of fun, very interesting, quite a bit dirty, but I think I got it. Now all I got to do is go roll over the mulch and my day will be done. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. I'm ready for a shower. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.